Hi Chris, it's great to see some work and thanks so much for your week 2 submission. I've just got it up on screen and I'm just going to talk through each of the things you've submitted, and you'll also see on the email an indication of the mark that you're currently at, just with each of the criteria, but please note that that mark is just an indication only, so you can certainly improve upon it. Not that you need to, I was really impressed with the work that you've done this week. So you'll notice here I've got the design brief up, and I'm just going to scroll through. I thought, your introduction was excellent. It's really detailed. You give a very clear background to the company and what their needs are. Presentation 1, which is the design of the new old E-Type car, I thought was very clear. You've described what the final presentation is and what needs to feature in it. The only thing I would say is just with regard to your presentation 2 description, that you just give some indication of the fact that it's going to be a print advertisement, and perhaps some of the contexts that this print might appear in, such as magazines. You could even name a magazine, Special Automobile Enthusiast magazine, or maybe even billboards. So if you can just be a little bit specific about that, that would help. Now I'll just reduce the size here so we can get all of your work on screen. So your freehand drawing skill is really high, Chris. It's fantastic. All of your proportions are accurately observed, and you've got lovely detail. I'll get my pen tool up. Where are we? Oh, it's already on. So you've got, exquisite detail here, use of pattern, use of rendering here, use of tone. There's some really fantastic things happening. Your annotations are very descriptive and reveal that you're very focused on what the problem is and how to solve it. And you make constant reference to the client and the problem, which is very important. Again, there's some really beautiful freehand drawings here showing your keen observation skills of the forms of the car. And so those 3 folio pages are excellent and in the very high range. Now when we get down to your advertisement layout, these are good concepts here, and I really enjoyed reading through behind the background to the concept and why you picked such a clean kind of foreground relationship here. It's good to see a bit of colour and a bit of media and your rendering here. It's good that you've kept it very loose, because at this stage you don't need to be highly detailed. It's just about ripping through the ideas and getting them down quickly. I thought this was really important. You've been pretty thorough in your investigation of the British Racing Green, which was an important stipulation in your design brief. And here you've got your other colour options as well. Okay, moving down, I thought this was a pretty detailed page for idea generation, really. You're exploring the topography, and I can see that this is more of a design development page, really, because you've explored, or you've settled on that concept of finally, and now you're just exploring it in type and using different typefaces and exploring the kerning, and that's fine. But I think one thing that I noticed with your idea generation for the advertisement was that we just don't have enough variety in the concepts at this stage. So you've sort of settled too quickly on this one, the finally term. So I can see that you're playing around with the concept of, it's been worth the wait. The first one came out in the mid-60s, hope that's right, and obviously this new one's coming out for 2015, so that's great. You've explored the concept of worth the wait, but I wonder if there are some others you could have also explored here, such as the concept of the new and the old, the new versus the old, or the new becomes old or the old becomes new. Maybe there's some ideas there. And look, I know with your research, a lot of car advertisements, I'm just going to move the screen a bit here, a lot of the car advertisements do actually, you know, feature the car pretty heavily. And that's fine if that's what you end up doing, but at this stage I want you to try and explore some other ideas too. Perhaps, you know, the lifestyle aspect of owning this car and the luxury of the car. You don't even have to show the car, so think about ways that you can convey what the experience of driving the car is like without actually showing it. So that could involve people, it could involve you know, the speed of the road, it could involve the scenery as you're driving past, it could involve, you know, other objects that represent luxury. So, you know, come back to that you know, element of putting the car in the advertisement at the end, but in your idea generation please show some other options so that you can get the full allocation of marks, because certainly your idea generation for the actual car itself is in the very high range, but your idea generation for the advertisement was probably sitting on a medium to high at this point, so you want to try and lift that section of your folio to meet the other areas of your folio. So your research is really good. I'll just comment on that really quickly. I think it's really thorough, and I can see how passionate you are about this vehicle, and that certainly comes through. And perhaps, I don't know whether you've got all of the advertisements here, whether there's a few pages that are missing, but maybe if you could just find a couple of other advertisements, not necessarily even for Jag, but maybe another car, just so you could think outside of the box a little bit more in terms of how to advertise. So that's good. Well done, Chris. Really high standard again.